Hi, this is your host Swapnil Bhartiya, and welcome to another episode of TFiR Let's Talk, which was supposed to be recorded at VMware Explorer, but we could not make it, so we are doing it remotely. And my guest, Jeffrey Gregor, General Manager of OVHcloud US, but we are doing it remotely. Jeffrey, I missed you at the show, but it's really great to have you here.
Yeah, it was a really busy time at the show, and sorry I missed you, but yeah, so happy to be able to connect today virtually.
We were supposed to sit down and record this at VMware Explorer. I would also love to know a bit about your presence, not only at this event, but also within the VMware ecosystem. So talk about your relationship with VMware.
Oh yeah, OVHcloud, both in Europe and in the US, have a long partnership. In Europe, it goes back many years. In fact, OVHcloud worked closely with VMware, and OVHcloud was the first to offer vSphere as a service on a monthly subscription. So that was an idea that we came up with. And we also have worked over the years very closely with VMware to initialize the point system that they use for all of the VMware partners to figure out that cost model. So yeah, we have a long history in Europe, but not only in Europe, but also in the US. So even though the US company is only 5.5 years old, one of the first things that we did with the US company was acquire vCloud Air from VMware. So we immediately brought credibility and VMware employee expertise to the fledgling OVHcloud company in 2017, and we've continued that very close relationship ever since.
We cover OVHcloud regularly. We also spoke with you folks hundreds of years ago before COVID. But it's all, since you are here, so I would quickly love to talk about, because we look at hyperscalers, the big three, and then we have a big market of, you can use the term alternate cloud providers, or, depending on who you talk to. So talk a bit about OVHcloud itself and what role are you folks playing in this massive cloud world?
Yeah, so that's how we see ourselves, certainly as an alternative cloud provider. As you said, positioned separately from the hyperscalers. We believe that we're in the top of that next tier down from the hyperscalers, and we're a pure cloud play. We only do cloud, and unlike a lot of other competitors, even the hyperscalers in some cases, we do all of the clouds. We're very successful and a market leader in bare metal cloud. We have a hosted private cloud offering based on the VMware stack, and we have a long history and partnership with VMware. We run our own private cloud, like many other providers. It's based on OpenStack, and we offer a fully open source managed Kubernetes offering. And then in the last 18 months to 2 years, we've been really expanding our footprint based on our public cloud offering with some platform as a service offerings, especially database as a service, AI and machine learning, and improving our block and object storage offerings.
As you also mentioned, alternative cloud providers and hyperscalers. When we look at hyperscalers, of course, they offer a lot of services. But if you look at a lot of businesses, we can look at small or medium businesses, or depending on who you look at, even large organizations. Sometimes they just need a few services. Basically, we care about compute, networking, storage, and then, of course, Kubernetes and everything else on top of there. So can you also talk about, if we look at alternative cloud providers like OVH, that you are solving the actual pain point that most customers look at without all the unnecessary fluff? Because to be honest with you, if you want to consume public cloud, you have to be a mathematician to calculate all the cost that is associated with that.
Yeah, exactly. So I think we understand our customers and the market very well. So we do some things differently and uniquely to address those problems. So as I'm sure you're aware, we've seen ourselves and also have information from a lot of analysts that there is a lack of skills in the market for companies to get folks that really understand cloud native and to really be able to take advantage of public cloud offerings and services like Kubernetes. So we've seen a lot of success with our bare metal cloud because, again, there's a lot of Linux sysadmins and Windows sysadmins out there that can run that same service on bare metal in the cloud and still get the advantages of being in the cloud, even if the company's not ready with time, money, or skills to refactor all their applications right away. Our hosted private cloud offering gives customers a full vSphere, a full managed vSphere solution. So that's exactly what they're used to on-prem. It's not modified in any way like many other providers that offer that solution with VCD. And even on the public cloud, like you said, having to be a mathematician to calculate the prices and determine what you're going to pay, OVHcloud prides itself on a few things. One, we don't lock customers in. So we know on a lot of the hyperscalers, there's some vendor lock-in due to proprietary technologies and APIs and other things. But also on public cloud, they get the sticker shock. They see it's a few cents per minute or per hour to run a compute node. But then if they start actually moving any data around and doing anything useful, they get a huge surprise bill at the end of the month. At OVHcloud, we don't charge for ingress or egress on our services. And we offer our customers a very predictable price on all of our services. They're all on monthly subscription, even though on our public cloud, it is consumption-based. But again, you're not going to get that surprise on the bandwidth charges.
Excellent. Once again, a cost of actually becoming a very kind of important topic is not just because of the potential economic downturn or potential recession, or companies are just becoming more and more kind of cost conscious. The fact is that as companies are consuming these cloud-based, they're moving to cloud-based architecture. Initially, it was kind of, the honeymoon period. Hey, everything moves to cloud. But cloud was also kind of at one point seen as a magical place. You move to the cloud, all your problems are solved. All you do is to write application, get clients and done. That is not the case. A lot of complexity comes with cloud. It's not a magical place. You have to worry about, of course, securities. I mean, it's not, end to all the problems. So can you also talk about when you look at OVHcloud, or we can just talk, in general, alternative cloud providers, so that we have a better view. How are you addressing some of these problems so that companies, they don't get overwhelmed with unnecessary complexity, unnecessary cost, and they can go back to the very reason they created a company, to solve a specific problem for a customer?
Yeah, exactly. So again, just to touch on what I've already said, by offering bare metal cloud, hosted private cloud, and public cloud with platform as a service options, we give the customers all the variety. So if they needed dedicated resources and then dedicated specific or dedicated virtual and then shared virtual and then with the platforms on top of it, they can pick and choose the right solution for their problem. Also, we have a technology here at OVHcloud that we call VRAC. It's a layer 2 private network. And we allow customers to connect all of those different services from OVHcloud on a layer 2 private network so that they don't have to expose certain services to the public internet. It transits on our own owned and operated fiber network. And again, we don't charge for ingress or egress on that. And you can use that for your services in any global OVHcloud data center, not just within one data center. The other thing, like you said, to focus on solving the customer's problem and removing some of the complexity, we also, I think, are really well positioned for this economic downturn, if it comes to it, or certainly with that being on people's mind. We're vertically integrated. We do everything from designing and building our own servers, like literally starting with bending the sheet metal, putting the servers together, building the racks, cabling them. We own and operate our global data centers in Europe, in Canada, in the US, and Asia Pacific, and more locations coming soon. So those cost savings by being vertically integrated, plus cost savings from using our own proprietary water cooling technology, which gives us industry-leading low PUE and WE numbers. We're only cooling the processors and the GPUs and other components. We're not cooling the entire data center. All of those cost savings allow us to have very competitive performance for price ratios. So we keep the price low and still deliver the performance that customers need to solve their business problems.
I want to hear from you. What are you seeing? What kind of adoption are you seeing in today's world where, first of all, because of COVID, companies, they started rushing towards cloud. Cloud was a place that kind of saved a lot of companies. Actually, the business grew. There is any specific industry area where you are seeing adoption of alternative cloud providers, not hyperscaler in general? And if you are seeing that, what do you think is driving that?
We're seeing, and again, it's what it's designed for. We've got a lot of startups and software as a service providers. It's very easy for them to consume and use our public cloud and these platform as a service offerings. So that's very attractive to them, especially with the predictable pricing relative to the hyperscalers and some others. On bare metal, we've actually seen, especially with some of our very high end, which are called scale and high grade servers, we've seen a lot of interest from companies and folks doing Web 3.0 and blockchain and smart contracts and staking. So all of those sort of things, those machines are very appropriate for. With both bare metal and our public cloud offerings, we offer GPU resources. And like I said, with the platform as a service, some AI and machine learning options. So, of course, data processing is a big growth industry right now. And then on private cloud, I think it comes back to the familiarity and ease of use. There are literally, and again, like we were talking about the VMware conference last week, VMware even estimates that there are hundreds of thousands, if not millions of VMware workloads that are still on-prem that can be moved to the cloud. So I think there's a lot of interest out there for people to take advantage of the cloud, but in a familiar way so that they can not have to have the complexity and cost and effort of necessarily transforming their applications right away, so they can move to the cloud and get those advantages and still have the skills and familiarity to operate it.
What value does alternative cloud provider bring to the market? First of all, you talked about the cost. You talk about complexity. The most important thing is data gravity. With folks like you, companies don't have to worry about data getting logged. And of course, security. It could also be sovereignty. So many reasons. So talk about why companies should not just get stuck with the hyperscaler and also consider alternative cloud providers. And it is, the word may mean alternate cloud provider, but the fact is, in most cases, this should be the primary provider, not the secondary one. It should not be an alternative. It should be the place to go.
Yeah, well, that's certainly what I think, or we think. Again, because we offer the broad spectrum of all cloud services at this, really affordable and great performance for price option. I would like to see customers look to OVHcloud and alternative cloud providers first, but we know that everyone is going to have or already has a multi-cloud strategy. There's like 60% of companies already use 2 cloud providers, and something like 30% use 3 or more already. And I think OVHcloud knows their position in the value chain for the customer very well, and we know what we do well, and we're not trying to be all things to all people. So of course there will be some endpoints or workloads that are appropriate for some service that only a hyperscaler or maybe a competitor has, and we're okay with this. We've been built for hybrid cloud and multi-cloud, from the ground up and from our inception. But we certainly hope that people will take a look at alternative providers like OVHcloud, because yes, I think we certainly have something, if not a lot, to offer companies in their cloud portfolio.
Is there anything else that you feel like, hey, Swapnil, we did not even talk about that?
Well, just one area which I think is driving a lot of growth in the cloud, of course, is data and the huge amounts of data that are being generated, especially with all these edge devices and IoT devices, et cetera. So all of that data needs to be stored in the cloud for future access or further processing after it's been processed initially at the edge. And OVHcloud with our database as a service offerings, with our platform as a service, and some of the AI and machine learning options, I think are a great fit for processing that type of data. But we've also been growing through acquisition here at OVHcloud. So in the past 18 to 24 months, we've acquired a few companies, OpenIO, which is bringing to us a very high-speed object storage solution, which will be great for storing all of that data that's generated at the edge. We also acquired a company called Extend, and it's still only in internal testing right now, but we'll be coming out with it in the coming months. It's a high-speed block storage solution, basically iSCSI over Fabric, and we think it's going to be a very industry-leading solution. And then just recently, we acquired a company called 4Pass, and they have a very attractive solution for data analytics. So we're really focused on helping customers, as you said, safely and securely store their data. And also, sort of like you alluded to, with OVHcloud, unlike with perhaps some other providers, the customer is always in complete control of their data, and they always know exactly where it is. We don't take backups or move things around anywhere without their knowledge. So it's not just in the nebulous cloud. They know exactly in which data center and even on which physical machine or rack or row that it's located.
Jeffrey, thank you so much for taking time out today, and of course, talk about. I mean, I loved your insight on the role and importance of alternative cloud providers. I think this market is much bigger than hyperscaler. Well, there's a lot of marketing budget that goes into visibility, but thanks for sharing all those insights. Thanks for also talking about why it should be the first or primary cloud, now the alternative one. Hyperscale should be the alternative one. So I love those insights, and I would love to have you back on the show to once again discuss this topic, because I do see there's a lot of potential for a lot of discussion about the importance of alternative cloud providers like OVHcloud. I wish we could have done in person, but let's try to do something in person as well. But I really appreciate your time today. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. And next time, maybe we'll call it primary cloud instead of alternative cloud.